All right, hello everyone. My name is Juliana Lopez. Thank you so much for being here today for OKC Med Week. Cheers, applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I'm the chair for the 2024 Minority Enterprise Development Week, and we have a few of our committee members here. Raise your hand and wave if you're a committee member. Thank you. Applause for them. Thank you. Yes, I know you're all eating, but I'm a very applause-heavy speaker. Thank you. All right. So just as a reminder for Med Week, we have our bingo game going on. So if you come to 5 out of the 17 events we're doing this week, you'll be entered to win an incredible prize filled with a lot of local products made here locally in Oklahoma, and a lot of products, digital products, served up by a lot of our committee members. For example, I'm going to get you a free 30-minute social media audit valued at $1 billion, and you'll get a custom Makiba Designs tote bag that's chilling in my car right now, just waiting for you. You'll even get a free custom social media template package from my virtual assistant. Yes. And a lot more that we're just squeezing out of our committee members and our local friends here who own their own businesses. So shout out to them. Remember, fill this out, get it signed at every event you go to, and submit it to a committee member when you are done. And just as a reminder, if you're not familiar with Minority Enterprise Development Week here in Oklahoma City, we aim to highlight, celebrate, and strengthen the minority enterprise ecosystem. So whether you're an entrepreneur or you are someone who supports entrepreneurs, you are part of that ecosystem. So thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. And now I'd like to pass it over to my fellow committee member, Ernest, with the Asian Chamber. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. What a great crowd. Thank you all for coming. Just a few words of thanks before we get to our featured speaker. First of all, I want to thank Juliana over there, the events chair for Med Week this year. She makes volunteering for Med Week as easy as pie. So thank you, Juliana. Appreciate it. I'd like to thank my home base, the Asian Chamber of Commerce, Valerie and Zehra, who's also a member, Tamar as well. But I'd like to thank my brothers and sisters on the board of the chamber for giving me the freedom to do this and confidence to do this. I'd like to thank our host, Ivan Wong. Is here on here. I think he might be in the back. But Ivan is a true, there he is. He's over there. Ivan is a true Renaissance man. He not only owns restaurant concepts, he's also an accomplished pianist, and he's a model as well, so just keep it up, man. And also, speaking about Formosa, all the drinks are $2 off, and you can be here up until about 11:45. So if you find someone you like, just feel free to stay. But okay, on to our guest speaker. So Zehra Mahid, when she entered our lives in the Asian Chamber about a year ago, she instantly became one of my favorite people because she speaks with such wisdom and experience, and it's just a pleasure to listen to her. And she started out as a lawyer owning her own firm, and then she's just broken out with Get School, which is a consulting practice for students getting into college or even graduate school. She's gotten into even executive coaching. And I think you all will find something useful and inspirational to take away from this session. So, and then afterward, feel free to share your own stories of grit and surviving challenges. So thank you all for coming. Zehra, do you want to start?
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Zehra, and I am the CEO of Get in School, now known as GIS because I've expanded into different areas. But I spent 25 years practicing law for organizations of all sizes, from startups to Fortune 75s, and worked directly with the C-suite. I also worked with several healthcare technology startup companies, and I now do coaching, mentorship, and consulting for executives, professionals, high-achieving students, artists, and political candidates. So today, I want to share some insights with you through the perspective of a person with 27 years of experience working very closely with successful geniuses and as an entrepreneur. It is very, very important when you are an entrepreneur to know how to ask yourself the right questions. And I'm going to start by sharing one of the most important questions that you can ask yourself. How do I have a successful business is not the right question. How do I become the person who can have a very successful business is the right question. Because the person you become through this journey is who will be with you through one business or 10. So, here's a question that the person you are becoming on this journey can ask themselves. How am I adapting? I tell my clients all the time that evolution was never about survival of the strongest or survival of the smartest. Evolution was about survival of the most adaptable. So to that point, you ask yourself, how am I adapting to things I didn't expect? How am I adapting to the fact that I have to learn things that are way outside my comfort zone and that fall outside my knowledge base? How am I adapting to fluctuations in cash flow? How am I adapting to the fact that I will always have to adapt? As a business owner, your own evolution never stops. It is like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. You can never brush your teeth thoroughly enough to not have to brush your teeth again. You can never shower long enough to never have to shower again. You can never evolve enough today to never have to evolve again. Another question to ask yourself. When problems arise, how do I approach solving them? Am I asking myself, why does this keep happening to me? Is it ever going to get easier? Why am I not getting what I believe I deserve? Why isn't this fair? Whose fault is it? Why is it that it seems like it was easier for everybody else? When those are the kinds of questions that you're asking yourself, your brain is functioning at a very low level of emotional intelligence. You are mentally cycling in extremely negative spaces. And when you cycle in negative spaces, you are like the gerbil on the wheel. There's a lot of motion and movement, but you're not actually getting anywhere. You've got to raise your level of thinking when the problems start coming, because your brain has to stop functioning at a low level and get to a high level. You want to get into your creative mental space, because that is the space where you are going to be able to process and spot potential opportunities and craft solutions. So you could be having issues with your suppliers, you could be having challenges with your employees, you could be having problems with marketing, you could be having all kinds of problems. I'm telling you right now that you are fully capable of solving all of those problems. But you've got to be willing to ask yourself the right questions. Here's a right question. What would happen if I ... And you fill in the blank. What would happen if I... Now you're shifting. What do I need to do to change things? What do I need to do to change things? Now you're tapping into your potential and you're not cycling. You want to go from a point of anger that point of frustration and that point of fear to that state of flow. Because the flow space is where you are going to figure out whether to stay the course, whether to pivot, whether to change, whether to reconfigure, or whether to stay exactly where you are. You are, in fact, your biggest resource. You've got to be able to tap into the part of yourself that is clear-headed. And I can tell you today, categorically, you will never make the best decisions about your business when you don't have mental and emotional coherence. Mental coherence is here, emotional coherence is here. And the flow between the two has to be smooth with no traffic jams. Entrepreneurship requires the willingness to learn before you get in the fast lane. Everyone says that they're ready for the fast lane. Everybody thinks that they're ready for the fast lane. But the truth is that when you are starting out, you actually have a lot to learn. Nobody starts learning how to drive on a highway. You start on inner roads. You practice how to use a brake. You learn how to safely change lanes. You understand the traffic laws, and you learn how to control your car. Then you get on the highway and you accelerate your speed. By the time you are on the highway, you already know how to adjust to changes like unexpected car accidents, traffic jams, construction, and sudden bad weather that significantly reduces your visibility and causes the roads to be slick. I often see people who believe that they're ready for the fast lane, but they're the same people who freak out at every speed bump. You cannot become a better driver if you keep slamming on the brakes. You're a good driver on the highway when you've learned to gently take your foot off the gas. You are not ready if the speed bumps freak you out. The key to driving well on a highway is having the ability to keep your car steady. If you were to slam on the brakes suddenly or veer, one of two things is going to happen to you on the highway. You are going to end up going into a ditch, or you are going to hit oncoming traffic because you were not steady and you were not ready. So, in that case, it doesn't actually matter what kind of a car you're in. As a matter of fact, the fancier the car is, the more it is going to cost you to wreck that car if you don't know how to operate it on the highway. The more your business grows, the more you have to lose. Learning to emotionally self-regulate and stay steady is key, and that comes with time and experience. And I've sort of come to the realization that we all have a tendency to compare. We look around us and we compare our level of stress and our problems and the magnitude of our problems to the people around us. We look at our situation and we assume that our problem must be much bigger than the next person's problem. Or we look at people who are further ahead of us and we assume that they somehow had it much easier than we did. But here's the thing. This is the truth. Whether you are trapped in the middle of a war-torn country or on the brink of filing for bankruptcy, your brain is releasing exactly the same survival-related chemicals. Your brain is going through the same psychological process despite the details of your external circumstances. And we are all living at our maximum stress capacity. So that means that when things go wrong, all of us have a brain that processes it as if we are being chased by a face-eating cat in the middle of the jungle. So in that case, what difference does it make who has the quote-unquote biggest problems in the room? All of our brains are responding the same way. The key here then is self-regulation. Another question to ask yourself as you're becoming that entrepreneur who can own a very successful business. How purposeful am I when I communicate. Whether it is with my employees, my suppliers, my mentors, my vendors, my customers, how purposeful am I? About 18 months ago, or about a year and a half to 2 years ago, I made a decision. I decided I am going to stop talking. Because what is talking? Talking is random thoughts are running through my head, I have emotions going through my body, I've got an opinion, I just want to get it out. So I'm going to open my mouth and I am going to dump. Speaking is different. Speaking requires intention. Speaking typically has purpose. It is no different than me asking this gentleman here, Sean, to walk across the room if we're in an empty room together, if it's just me and Sean, and I say to Sean, Sean, can you please go across the room and get me a bottle of water? Sean will walk across the room, Sean will pick up a bottle of water, and Sean will bring it back to me. But what is Sean going to do if I say to Sean, Sean, can you please go across the room and get me a bottle of water? Also, 5,000 people are watching you. Now, the way Sean does this task is going to be different. He will have more intention. He will have a clearer purpose. He will walk with more self-possession. He will have more confidence. This is the difference between talking and speaking. I started this in my business. I stopped talking and I started speaking. And then I started doing this with my community. And then I started doing this with the organizations that I'm part of. And then I started doing this with my family. And I saw that the quality of the communication and the standard just went up and up and up. Because you will find that when you are the person who is speaking rather than talking, everybody will rise to your level. So if you remember nothing else tonight, just remember, stop talking. Another one. How well do I understand my customers? This is simple. This one is simple. Care more. When you're willing to use your emotional intelligence and your awareness about human nature and your understanding of basic psychology, which I know everybody in this room has, this will have a very tangible impact on the reputation of your business, its growth, and its sustainability. Who exactly are your customers? Are you getting them at a point when they are in a stressed state? What might they be worried about? What is it that they're expecting when they walk into your establishment or buy something from you? How do you communicate with them and how do you treat them? People remember exactly what it felt like to interact with you. Another question to ask yourself. Am I able to hold gratitude? This is beyond making a list of things that I am grateful for. If you ask my husband over here in the red shirt what my superpower is, I think he will tell you it is my ability to hold gratitude no matter what. When anything bad happens in my life, and a lot of bad things have happened in my life, I have trained myself to think first, what can I be grateful for? How could this have been worse? 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, the city of Edmond got pummeled by horrible, horrible hail. Some of us know this because we were out in the middle of it, or we heard it slamming on our roofs. So my daughters and I were in my brand new 7-week-old pearl white Cadillac Escalade on the middle of a road with no shelter. And the hail starts clobbering down. And all I could think to myself, my daughters were really scared, and I was like, look, thank goodness the windshields haven't cracked, we're not having an accident, we've pulled over. It is not 2 a.m., nobody is injured, we are safe. Now, my car has hail dents in it, and it probably is going to depreciate. Like if I try to sell it in 2 years, it'll probably depreciate in value by at least $30,000 just because of this damage. However, we didn't have a car accident, we didn't flip, nobody's hurt, we're all healthy. It's not something I would have wished for, and it's not something I'm happy about, but I knew the entire time, oh my gosh, this could be so much worse. I can handle it. Here is the truth. The fact that someone is not ready to buy something that you are offering today does not necessarily mean they will never be ready. I've had people follow me on social media for a very long time before they decided to pull the trigger and hire me. And I'm not saying that it has to take a long time, but I'm saying people have all kinds of reasons for not closing the deal with you. You don't know what they are. And one no from one business or one individual has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with a yes from somebody else. And here's the truth about your strength and your abilities. And it really is this simple. If you can feel, if you can think, if you can walk, and if you can speak, you are actually capable of handling anything. I reminded myself of this during the darkest moments in my life. I literally stood in front of a mirror and reminded myself of this. It is true, and I did. And if you're not sure whether what I'm saying is true for you, just think back to the worst things that ever occurred in your life. You will notice something. You handled them. And you're here now. Entrepreneurship is most definitely not for everyone. If you are seeking predictability in your life, you are better off getting a job. But if your goal is to follow your passion, to chart your path, to create something for you, to build and then sell your vision, to leave something behind, to have meaning and purpose, to do it your way, then unlike any job any employer ever offers you, your potential for success is absolutely limitless. The only way you can fail is if you quit or if you die. And sitting here today, please remember, no matter how early stage you may be, you are already ahead of all of the people in the world who will never even try. Thank you.
Thank you, Zehra. Appreciate it. Does anyone have any words of wisdom or experiences to piggyback on what Zehra shared with us? Anyone? Yes?
I heard a really powerful statement, Ernest.
Yeah.
So for those of you looking to expand, like into government contracting or anything to that nature, at the Select Oklahoma Conference, I just remember this statement, and it was all about doing all this work to get someone to come to, we'll say it's Oklahoma City per se. You can apply this to your same business. You might be someone's no, like you said, it's not right now. You might be their second choice, but you will always be somebody else's first choice. So remember that in your business. If it's not that person, if they're not saying yes yet, somebody else is waiting to say yes to you.
Anybody else?
I got something. So first, Ernest, thanks so much for inviting me out. Ernest said, I just want to extend a personal invite and come to the event. I said, it's already on my list. So good evening. I'm Nikisha Badgett, and this is my first year participating in MedWeek. And thank you so much for all of the things that you shared. All I keep thinking about is I was driving that car crazy all over the place, and and for a long time I also had imposter syndrome, but not just imposter syndrome in work and business development, but imposter syndrome in my life. So I would say that my success story thus far, because I am, and not an aspiring founder, but I'm a founder developing a gaming app in honor of my daughter, right? At the age of 4, I lost my daughter. She passed from brain cancer. And it's like when she died, I died. Thought I was fine driving in that car, but I was absolutely a lunatic, right? Eyes closed, just doing this, and still being guided to survive it, right? And so I am still here today. So I was able to finally overcome that imposter syndrome in life when I woke up and I gave myself permission to live. And I said, you know what? No, there were things that I couldn't do for Laurel, my daughter, when she was with us, but there is a change that I can make and remember who I am. Because I used to say, she was so amazing, she was gonna change the world. And somebody said, well, if that's what she was gonna do, what are you gonna do? Because I had to remember that I am also amazing. I am also capable. I am also deserving, and I can also do the work to get there. And so right now I am dwelling in that place of manifestation where instead of thinking one day I'll be this multi-billionaire, it's like I'm owning it and I'm recognizing that as I take every step and walk in the light, those things are unfolding right now. So I'm not worried about people coming and wanting to pour money and funding into this amazing idea, because I know that's going to happen and it's going to evolve, change lives, continue to grow, and that I can continue to carry on her legacy and be just as amazing as I know she would have been. So I think that's success, right? Thanks for listening.
Tell us about your business.
Thank you for asking. So I am, in honor of Laurel, when we were immediately thrown into the hospital systems and spaces, we started learning of all these new things, right? There's this new journey, new hospitals and new people and new terms and all of these new things. And I recognize kids get anxiety and fear when it comes to being thrown into these spaces. And so I am developing a web app because that's where the money is, right? Kids and gaming and technology and AI. And often when we're in those spaces, what do? We hand the kids the phone. Here's the tablet, I need to go deal with the doctor, right? So it's a gaming app, but what sets this fun gaming app apart is that the characters will prompt children to identify their emotions. So in real time, they are learning how to express their emotions, and then the app will send alerts to the parents with talking points. So now we're dealing with mental health and wellness, right, early on, so that we can have more successful outcomes in the hospitals, right? We can have more successful outcomes at home because we can deal with things before you get to the doctors. And these hospital systems can really help kids deal with that anxiety and fear before they become adults. Because what happens when we're scared of the dentist as a child? We're scared of the dentist as an adult, right? And so, so it's a gaming application that targets mental health for kids, for now. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Rajita.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any words of wisdom or experiences that they'd like to share? Yes, I was hoping you would say something on
My name is Mahid at the Asian Chamber event last week, and my name is Hamid. I'm the founder of Sailor in a Dock, which is Thank you. I'll be honest with you, that project, I probably should have done 10 years from now, but it happened last year, the year before. I ran out of money that the bank gave me before the construction even finished, so it was very challenging. But once it got finished, I thought, it's done. Now I can figure out the rest. I'll make a deal with the architect, ask him for 6 months more. I'll work with the electrician. But it goes back to what you were saying, the grateful person mentality. And every day, after going to sleep the night before, I wake up and I thought, I'm still breathing, I'm still walking, and I still have everything here to be able to find another resource that I may have not had yesterday. And I swear to you, every week there'd be something that came that I would have never thought the week before I would ever come. And everything that happens that you lose, and you're like, gosh, I lost that, upset about it, whatever, there's always something I've noticed that comes better right after you're like, thank God that happened. That really was a blessing. So thanks to what you shared about just being grateful for what you have in front of you, and that mentality will always bring more afterwards. So.
Thank you, Hamid.
Oh gosh, I could share no, tell me, I don't know what to say though. Like, I don't know. I could share all sorts of things. I happen to say.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Zehra Mahid.
Hi everybody, it's your guy. My name is Taz. I recognize a lot of the faces in this room, and also I see a lot of faces that I haven't met. First, I want to give a big shout out to my sister Zehra. I'm so very proud of you to see where you come from, how far you're going, and I just want to say, and a lot of to the other members in here as well, like Hamid. I remember when we very first opened Sailor on the Dock, and having seeing how hard you were working to get event after event after event, and seeing where we are now, it's huge. I remember last year, 1 year ago, I came to MedWeek, and I was actually at REI Oklahoma, and they were talking about the ways to get access to capital, especially for women-owned businesses. And I'll say this, for me, my success really is rooted in my family. Coming to the United States, I was actually undocumented for a very, very long time. Got my permanent residency back in 2020. And so now my whole family, they're all permanent residents, US citizens, everything like that. For the longest time, we were unstable. We were literally thinking of what are we going to be doing to survive to the next day? What are we going to be thinking about in terms of this team's education, our family's education? But here we are, 25 years later, living in Oklahoma. My mom has opened up her catering business, right? And now we're at a point where we're having to deny people on days that, hey, we can't cater on this day, we can't cater on that day, we're going on a trip. But I used to think about how, we were just fighting to have stability, and now we are at a point where we are fighting to figure out how to scale up. And so that persistence, that grit, and most importantly, that gratitude is what kept us here. It's perseverance and gratitude. And so when I see MedWeek and I see all these new faces that are being in this room, I'm already looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Asian Chamber of Commerce can support. Somebody had to take a chance on me. I was the youngest person on our founding board. I was 24 years old at the time. And just thinking hey, somebody said, hey, you're a young person, we want to hear your perspectives and have you at the table. We value that. And like you had mentioned, when you're not somebody's, when you're somebody's second or third choice, you're somebody else's first choice. So you never stop. You don't stop, and you get right back up, you get back on the horse, and you try again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and Taz is also, yes, I'm our Asian Chamber Board of the Directors, so thank you, sir. Anybody else? Otherwise, you can go back to enjoying your Taiwanese tapas, and the drinks, all the drinks are $2 off, so help yourself. But last call, anybody have anything else to say? Or?
I'll just remind, it's not inspirational, but it's gonna help us.
If you would help us to collect the amazing data from all you amazing participants here today so that we can better MedWeek for next year. That's fine. If you will fill out the check-in form that is right behind Sean. Sean will Vanna White for us. Thank you. He loved that, I know. All right, just check in for us, and then we'll actually be sending everyone a feedback form at the end of the week. So you can tell us how we did and how we can improve nicely, because we're sensitive. And thank you again for hosting. If you have any questions about MedWeek, please let me know, and let me, get your bingo card and let me sign that you are here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liliana. Thank you all. I'm also available to help sign your bingo cards. We also have some great events. The Verge is hosting Understanding Business Funding, I think at 11 or 10 tomorrow.
Scan that QR code, I'll tell you.
Scan the QR code and look at the calendar. But we have lots of great events. Thank you all for coming out.